All right, guys, we just watched the movie Itsy Bitsy. This is a new one for us. It just came out. We got it. Here we are for a review. Not going to dilly-dally too much. Going to give you a quick non-spoilers if we liked it or not, and then we're going to hop over and ruin it.
Hey. So, as you might guess from the name, it is a spider movie.
It is indeed a spider movie.
I happen to not be arachnophobic, and that might be what didn't make it work for me, but personally I was not a huge fan of this movie.
I'm not scared of spiders. I do like spiders. I think large spider movies are fun. I like, Eight-Legged Freaks would be, I'd say, go see that, avoid this. This is a thumbs down for me. It just doesn't hold attention well enough, in my opinion.
I haven't seen the trailer. Have you seen the trailer?
I did see the trailer.
Okay, so does the trailer make it look like, because it seems like it's an actual movie, but then it doesn't
The trailer is better than the movie. I would just say don't watch this movie. Yeah. Watch our spoiler.
Okay, so the trailer is probably lying to you about what the movie's delivering.
It's not lying, but it's just not showing you all the things you don't give a shit about.
Well, the movie doesn't deliver on the promise of the trailer to be like whatever it needs to be. I haven't seen it, but okay. We'll just skip ahead to spoilers now and just quickly discuss the movie in more detail.
Here we go.
If you need a place to rent content, you better listen. We're Cannibal Video and we eat the competition.
All right, guys, here we are for spoilers on Itsy Bitsy. So if you've seen it or don't care, proceed. If not, get out of here. All right, so what is your spoiler opinion of this movie?
Like I said, I have some problems. I don't know what to address first necessarily. Mm-hmm. I guess we'll dive in to where the movie dives into, which is like, I guess it's a flashback, but then it's like just a hey, something's happening in some other country, right? We have the things with like I'll say natives or whatever, and aboriginals, and like locking the spider god into the pot. And then the people stealing the pot.
Is it safe? Be careful.
And all that stuff or something like that. Because when this happens in a movie, it sets me up. I go like, okay, so I'm happy. It's not just a big spider. It's a spider god, or like a magic spider. Let's just say magic spider.
Or at least they believe it to be.
Yeah, you don't know it's a god, right? So I'm like, okay, it's gonna be like, it's not, this is gonna come into play, right? Maybe how we defeat the spider, or like how the movie goes, or how the spider behaves, or like anything, right? And it turns out, as we are in spoilers, like I can now reveal, it did nothing. It basically means nothing.
Yeah, it was more that there was just this species of spider there that they happen to worship as a god or something.
Oh, well, okay.
Because it doesn't have any godly powers. It doesn't do it. It does have the godly power to confuse me and make me not know exactly what's happening.
I might have screwed up then, because I thought that it was locked in that pot for like a very long time and couldn't have survived.
Well, my thought is yes, I do agree with you there, but I was just thinking, oh, this is some sort of hibernating spider that just whatever, or like a prehistoric spider, like something that makes sense for this, because like you said, not a lot of this comes into play. It doesn't really make sense. I'm led to believe one thing when something else happens. Like, it lays egg sacs multiple times.
Yeah.
And at points, it seems like there's more than one spider based on how things are happening.
Oh, really?
To me, at least, I believe that, because at one point, like, it goes out the window or comes back in here. Like, it seemed to be coming in from different points too quickly to make sense. And that's just bad movie stuff. But I was led to believe, because you watch it lay eggs, and like a short time later is when I believed there to be more than one. And the size, as in most bad creature features, was inconsistent.
Wildly different.
I thought it went from bigger to smaller. So I was like, oh, that's a little one. That's the next incarnation of this spider.
Okay.
That is false. There is only one big spider, and he does molt many times to really get no larger.
At least
it
once,
seems.
Right? There's one molting, I believe.
I thought there was more than one, but there's at least one carapace that you see very well.
And yes, I had the same thought. So like my thing too was like, is it like a real magic spider? And so like anything that I saw that didn't make sense, I'm like, fuck, magic spider. That explains it. Obviously, it's not just like, hey, how'd he get in that room? Spider's like throwing the key in the newspaper and like, what is the spider doing?
You can't hold a raptor in a closet. They're too smart.
Right,
no. It's like teleporting and flattening itself out or something.
Magic spider, obviously. It does its thing. But yeah, when it molts, it doesn't get any bigger. It lays eggs. It does all the stuff that a real but unusual spider might do to be threatening or something like that, right? It's not doing its magic spider thing. And the way that we defeat it has nothing to do with like they put the pot back together, and I'm like, they must trap it back in the ceremonial thing. Someone comes back, and there's a whole thing. Why would you put we could have reclaimed 15 minutes of movie and just left out the magic spider angle, right?
I think the opposite, where I think you could have cut everything but 15 minutes of this movie, and it could have been an interesting short if you just showed the last 15 minutes with maybe one additional minute of this big spider got in the house. Because a lot of this movie was just okay, all right, you're setting something up here. Okay. So all right. So the general plot of this movie is you have a drug addict lady who has been fired from her job as a nurse.
Mother of the Year.
Yes, she has 2 children. She has a boy and a girl.
Let's go to the grocery store so we can buy some waffles.
That's a good idea.
The girl is younger than the boy, and she's going now, it seems cross-country to work as the personal in-home nurse for Senator Kelly from
I was just going to say. Full stop, because I'm like, who is that? He looks different. He's puffy, has hair or whatever. Then I'm like, it's Senator Kelly. And whenever I see that guy, because he's a character actor, he's in a lot of stuff, I always think, did you really see what you think you saw? Magneto saying that because it turns out we did, because they never revisit Senator Kelly, right? Is that the deal? Yeah, it's amazing. Okay.
No, I like that guy. I like him as Senator Kelly. He's definitely puffier now.
He's older. I'm just saying.
Older, has some unflattering.
I didn't immediately clock him
when
he's playing an invalid, so he's definitely not meant to be.
Well, he gets bitten and dragging himself out of the bed, and I remember thinking to myself, you really should have tucked your shirt in.
Oh no!
Because there's some chub.
Oh, I didn't even clock. Okay, cool.
And he's old again, whatever. But there's always things in that when I'm I think about those creative choices in movies when I'm as a director, I'm I think I would be a little more flattering toward this thing or whatever, because he's arguably the most famous guy in the movie.
Right.
I don't even know if it's an argument. I think it's just a fact.
No, yeah, he's as far as I know.
Yeah, I'm maybe not piss him
off. Only person that I recognized.
Yeah.
He's not pissed. He's having a great time.
Certain shots looked really nice of the spider.
When it's not moving and you can't see all of it.
Some of these close-ups, the mandibles and this and that. And then there certainly was something she's holding during that ending fight scene.
There is a practical spider, I believe.
There was some good shots here, and for some parts of it, it looked decent. But a lot of the wides and stuff were it's super not flattering.
I don't want to harp on bad CG, because bad CG alone would not ruin a movie for me. But yes, there's one where it's running out the window, and one where it's running across something where I'm just oh no, that's awful.
But this could have been a practical effect movie. There wasn't you could have obviously peppered in things that would be hard, maybe lower the midsection and have arms CG'd in there, so you can do color tone matching and lighting effects. That's I think where things fail. Where it doesn't exactly blend in with its surroundings.
That was that window shot. It just bent time and space and didn't look like it was there at all, and you're oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, again, the last 15 minutes. Pretty solid.
Okay.
But everything else I thought really fell apart for me, where I was why is this even happening? If you ignored where the egg came from, it wouldn't have changed the movie at all.
That was my main complaint on that part, yeah.
If you didn't have her trying to oh no, my son has died and I'm a bad mother and I'm drug addicted, I think that wouldn't have affected the movie either.
Well, yeah, because so that's one of my other. I have 3 main complaints. That's complaint 2. We'll skip to that. The whole movie's like trying, because like I'm like the pretentious one. I like when a movie's doing something as well. So you have one movie about one thing, and then you have another thing about like something else. I'm like, oh, okay. There's like it's like 2 things. So when you overcome the monster, you're overcoming your right. But like it's completely like reversed and like doesn't pay off right. Like imagine if she was really overprotective of her kids, and then she gets incapacitated, and she has to like trust them, and like they have to go be independent. And then at the end, because at the end she's like filmed softly, and she has like her hair's like conditioned, and it's like, oh, she snapped out of it. And you're like, why would she snap out of it? She's like a mess because of some trauma that happened. We just had more trauma happen.
Trauma on there.
Why is she like, let's go, children, everything's fine?
And she's been hit with the 2 different types of trauma. Where like the first one is like, oh, you are a victim to your own problems. You were a drug addict and you killed your son because of that. And then the second one is like, oh, I was attacked by this thing outside of my control. Oh, I've been a victim. So now she's like traumatized from both directions.
So like, I actually meant to go check, like, did I miss something or whatever? So like, you are confirming that like she was popping pills before the car accident, and that's what happened? Okay.
Yeah, she was.
I wasn't sure if that's what happened.
Well, I guess it's not explicitly said. It could be interpreted that she was stealing and popping pills because she killed her son. But
yeah, I was thinking
then she wouldn't be the same like unlikable character if she didn't kill him because of her lack of control. And I think that makes for a better movie. So I'm going to assume that's what it was.
I thought of this though, because I wasn't sure, and I don't think it works either way. Because I
kind of agree.
Yeah, because like the most charitable interpretation. Oh, you were like in the accident, you had like a disc thing, and you got prescribed them, and you got addicted or whatever, right? Right. That's your scenario or something, or no, like that's the other scenario, right? But then like even if she was popping them before, killing her child didn't snap her out of it. It like arguing with an old man later snapped her out of it, right?
Yeah,
I still don't like
which
that.
makes her even worse of a character.
Exactly.
I would argue though that it probably wouldn't snap her out of it, is the killing her kid, because that would spiral her deeper into, I can't be a part of this life anymore. I need to be one.
This is why I don't like the ending, because there was no.
Oh no, yeah, it's not a good ending.
Because like her being cool again, and then being like, "We love you, mommy," and stuff. I'm like, there was literally no like thing like yes, oh, we're all bonding and we're lucky to be alive through all this mess, but there's no like redeeming like, hey, we made it. I trusted you.
What they should have been, if I'm doing my little 2-minute rewrite here, was. So the dad's not in the picture, and you just don't know why. You don't see him. You don't really talk about him at all. My thing would have been like, the dad should have been driving. The dad should have gotten the accident. That's what led to the kid dying. That's what made her pop pills, and that makes her a little bit more sympathetic.
Right.
But with just she's a pill popping murderess that also puts all the weight and responsibility on her young son to raise her younger daughter. She's not a likable character, and I don't think anything she does snaps her out of that and makes her redeemable. There was no redeeming act. I don't think you can really come back from being like a really trash bag parent who also killed one of their kids.
It took me a while to like catch on to how like trashy she was, because I kept thinking like, okay, but we, like I kept thinking, well, the movie just wants me to think this, but there's gonna be a reason, and it's gonna be like revealed, like your father was abusing us, and he, everything was in his name, so we had to leave. Like,
but they never say anything.
They never do anything.
It might be a deleted scene.
I don't think so. No, No, because like more stuff just keeps getting piled on. Where I'm like, oh, okay, this is the bad thing about her. She put all of it onto her son. Yeah. I'm like, no, wait, the other thing is still bad too. And then I'm like, wait, no, that's all bad.
It's a series
This is a horrible person. Yeah, it's great.
No, and the kids I thought were good. I really actually liked them. I thought they
agree with that.
They did great with the part.
The little girl had a great scream. I don't know if that's really her screaming, but she had a great scream.
What is it? What's wrong?
She had a good chance, and like her visuals, even though she's potentially reacting to nothing there, I thought makes it even better.
Yeah,
because like a little kid, you could perceive that like, oh, we just scared the shit out of her in the dark with a mask or whatever. But I think she was actually
totally
an actress.
Unrelated.
I thought the little boy was good.
You have one job. Look out for your sister.
It's easy for you to say.
Excuse me?
It's easy for you to call it one job. But I make her breakfast, lunch, and dinner, dress her, get her to bed, and make sure she brushes her teeth. So that one job that you've given me, it comes with a whole lot of other things that you should be doing but don't want to.
Yeah. Did you like the sheriff?
Oh, Denise Crosby.
When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
Yeah, I hate her and everything.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to run into her during a convention anytime soon. So at this point...
Not again. Not after last time.
Not after last time. Oh, yeah.
My God, people are going to get injured.
No, like she was, on Star Trek, and there's the story there. So she even does Star Trek things, I think, still, even though she quit that show and was like, screw this, right?
Denise Crosby is boldly going where no Star Trek cast member has gone before. Star Trek The Next Generation is losing a cast member. Denise Crosby, who plays the chief security officer, is now to be written out of the show because the large cast just left no room.
But she appeared in like Dexter and like a few other things, and I like knew who she was and had like an open mind towards it. But this is my like sealing the deal. She's also in that Stephen King's Pet Sematary.
Sometimes that is better.
So she's around, and I was like, whatever, cool, that's cool, fine, whatever. But this here, I'm just like, I don't like you. No.
She like forgot how to act or never knew.
No, there's no acting going on.
It was very weird how things were delivered. It was like, are we in a play?
Sheriff Dunn, please.
Sheriff? That's a little formal between us. I've known you since junior high school.
Oh, at work. Gotta stay professional.
All right, Sheriff, anything you say.
Yeah, she's playing the Lance Hendrickson part in this movie, where she just appears in a few scenes and is not good.
A lot of things had to do with economics.
I don't know, where I'm like, I'm sorry. I want to like you. But it's not working. The spark is gone.
No, really, a lot of characters were like that for me.
In this movie or in your whole life?
In my whole life.
Okay.
I thought like the guys, so like they're somewhere getting the egg in that opening scene.
I call them poachers, but they're not. They're like
they're murderers.
We did the right thing. They're savages.
They're tomb raiders, if you will.
But like they're the ones that created the tomb because it was a full civilized, like Aboriginal people that they murdered to take this pot. And you're like, oh, and that I think the creepiest shot might be there's a small child that is walking into the cave, like very much lit, and the way their body looks against the light, I was like, what am I looking at?
So it's like a lens bloom, like weird thing when like things get thinner when there's too much light on both sides, and you're like, oh wow, there's so much light. This person looks like an alien. Then like the lens like like constricts or whatever to like bring it into focus, and it never gets thick enough to be a human. It's still because it turns out to be like a child or whatever. But it looks so weird, because you don't know what it is.
I thought it was an alien. I'm like, oh, aliens gave them this
alien
egg.
spider gods, exactly.
Cool. No, nothing that cool.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's the creepiest shot in the movie. In this horror movie.
In this horror movie about a spider, the creepiest shot is this accident of like the lens flaring.
Trick of the light.
Yeah, sweet.
I think, but legitimately, I was like, oh, what is this?
It happens early in the movie where you still have an open mind of like, where's this going?
And then
what else could be in this movie?
For no reason to explain how Senator Kelly, who had a wife that passed away, had like an adopted son who's like out there like raiding tombs for them.
The whole thing.
But then asks for like money or a sacrifice in exchange for giving him this egg that they'd been looking for apparently forever.
A gift of this magnitude requires a trade. Something of meaning. A true sacrifice.
Senator Kelly has a bunch of artifacts in his house. He's like the guy. He's like into that stuff, archaeology like guy who now is like disabled.
Things that are older than Christ, like all kinds of shit.
Yeah, he's into that stuff. So this is like, I have something special for you, and like brings it over, right? So like, there's a whole backstory there of like, oh, they deserved it. Oh, how would they feel if they knew you were doing this?
She was so very kind to me. And those savages poisoned her. Because of this.
It wasn't poison. It's malaria.
I swore I would avenge her, and I have kept my promise.
All this stuff, which is this weird little thing that doesn't get developed or like paid off on or whatever. It's so weird, again, because we already have like this weird magic spider thing, taking away from our creature feature whole thing, right?
It goes in some weird detail to unexplained things, like during the robbery of the egg, they're driving away, and one of them, you're like, oh, did he get shot?
Don't panic. They're not behind us.
Like, what is that? Yeah. He apparently got bit by the spider somehow?
Because his eyes had the
But yes, but I'm like, when did that happen and how?
Because the spider's still in the egg.
That's what I'm saying.
The pot.
So like
the egg of Mortadubu.
So like there must have been another spider there, and that's what led into my thing of like oh, this is them just like like it's some ceremony with blah blah blah. Like oh, it was mid-molt and they put it in there like while it was incapacitated. I don't know.
Okay.
But somehow that guy got bit. We're in agreement, right? His eyes were turning. He said there's no there's no hope for you or something.
Sorry,
and he shoots the
sorry,
guy.
friend.
And
it's
you're
all
like,
over
okay.
for you.
And I'm thinking, because it's a magic spider at this time, I'm like, oh, it must be like you get bit and then it bursts out of your chest and there's another one, some cool thing. Because then later on, that guy who is it Ace from Kiss that has the cat face? Which one has the cat makeup?
Okay.
Amelia
started thinking of Ace Ventura. I'm like, that's Tone Loc. You're so racist. No, this guy was nothing like Tone Loc. Okay, what?
But the guy has like scarification of like cat
he's got
some
basic. Okay, we should say though, for the record, to get back on the plot train or whatever.
Sure.
The guy shows up with this pot egg thing with symbols written all over it. Talks to Senator Kelly. Senator Kelly kind of blows him off. Then the nurse comes in, and there's this super awkward confusion triangle. The dude like smashes the pot, like you check your watch. It's like 12 minutes into this hour-and-a-half movie.
Sure.
The pot's been smashed.
If there is a god of this tribe, I curse it.
So anything about like the kids playing and smashing it, her being the nurse and being curious, someone breaking in later and doing like any natural slow escalation. The pot smashes immediately, and there's that white they like cut it out of like the spider's nest or whatever in there. So I'm like, okay, this will be eggs and they'll hatch and it'll grow. Apparently the full-grown spider emerges. Like attacks that guy, but then disappears so that they just see a strange man in their house.
Help me. Let her go!
And they're like, get out of here, or whatever. And the whole first, like the whole rest of the first act, the whole second act is this giant spider just hanging out, being around.
That's
and then
the biggest
our family
issue
and stuff. Like there's nothing. It sucks.
Is that this aggressive spider? And even at points when it should be defending its eggs, which would be like the most aggressive of a mama or papa, asexual, whatever the hell this thing is.
God.
Of a spider god.
Yes.
It always acts like a movies thing where it's like, oh, gotta avoid you, gotta hide here. Oh, I'm behind the door.
Will you check under my bed?
You're fine. It's just a dream.
Like all these things where I'm like, nope, it would have killed you right there. I'm like when something like just pushes you instead of stabbing you. I'm like, what's happening here? Why is it behaving?
And if
this
it's
way?
a spider god and it kind of wants the child sacrifice, then I can get behind that. But nothing except being told it's a spider god makes me think it's a spider god. It's just a spider.
I'm not sure spiders have ears like we have them.
I don't know.
But I know for a fact they feel when you fucking touch their web. That's like their thing.
Yes.
And he has her like tied up, and the guy's like, the kid's cutting her free with scissors, and it's like, shh.
Jesse.
And they don't know that it's not actually a spider across the room.
That was a cool thing, where
the
the skin of the spider, whatever, the dead thing.
But you have like a spider hole that it should have shut out. The moment something touched that web, it should have came out like... And are we to believe it kidnapped the little girl? Or the little girl just go up there and get stuck?
Like as bait or something?
Because what? Best shot, and I think you'll agree with me, in the movie is when the spider attacks the little girl to like kill her, and it bites and the fangs go through her thin little hand. And you can see the venom dropping. I was like, oh, awesome. That's like a much better version of the like in Signs. He wasn't breathing. He's got asthma.
Okay. That's why he had asthma. It can't be luck. His lungs were closed. His lungs were closed. No poison got in.
My first thought was Futurama, when the stinger went right through her into me or whatever.
Where am I? In the hospital. The ambulance took you here right after the bee stung you.
But the bee stung you. It barely touched me.
The stinger went right through me and you got all the poison.
Yeah, big space bees.
Sure.
No, yeah, that was, it's fine. I wouldn't call it like, there's no best shot to me or something
I think that
yeah.
one, both visually and like, oh, that's interesting.
That's a
for
thing.
me. Yeah,
Sure.
I don't know that it could just straight up, like, I feel like it is pumping venom the whole time. Like, I feel like you should have got at least a little bit.
I don't know how it's supposed to work.
I don't know, and I was
Yes.
okay with that one. Everything else about the movie, not so much.
I like that she's wearing wings the whole time and then gets caught in the web. That's a nice
Sure.
little
Fly in this web.
tasty little thing there. I like that.
The mom goes ham and, like, you know, kills the thing at the end. So that...
May I go on a rant
You
here?
may.
This is my third point. Because if it's a spider god, we have to trap it back in the pot of Agamemnon or whatever. We have to do a ritual.
Klaatu, Veranda,
You know, someone has to show up and say, "We're from that other country, and you took our god, and we're gonna help you." Like, something has to happen in the story to like stop it, right? Because if it's not a magical spider, it's just a spider like the size of like a small cat or dog, which is like
a medium-sized dog. I would
yeah, but like that's pretty big for a spider. But the whole time I'm like, it's not that big. I think you could just like jump and land on it and squash it. Or something like that. And people with weapons and things could happen.
Certainly a weapon.
Now, the spider could demonstrate it hides or like the venom, and there's all these angles or like the like webbing, right? There could be different stuff going on.
Because that web would be the
which we
strongest shit in the world.
Exactly.
Because
So
what the fuck?
There's a lot of angles you could play up that they you know, those things are in the movie to some degree, but that's not really the thing, right? And so I'm waiting now to be like, how are we going to like defeat the spider? And she ends up just squashing it. She just kills it with her hands. And that was supposed to be the whole like, oh, mama bear moment or something like that.
Even though
just
she's
makes me
like
sick.
dead already.
Well, you know,
Even
she
beyond the fact that
realized,
it's like the most deadly poison that was injected like into her heart. Those fangs are gigantic.
Yeah.
And it went like into like at the very least a lung, but it looked like the heart. Like it was very close to the
she gets hit
vital
like
area.
right in the chest
Yeah.
by the spider.
Those, even if the fangs didn't catch that big, which I would say definitely did because of the marks it left and how quickly the pus is coming out. Means I'm like, well, she is infected like fuck, like right now.
Again, magic spider venom.
Works
fast.
Magic is in quotes repeatedly because I think this is just a spider.
I know, but like, also it has. So again, like it has to be just a spider because it's laying eggs, right? If it was a magic spider
magic
god,
spider couldn't, you know, have children and deities or whatever.
Then Senator Kelly should have told the legend, like they say someday she will return and like her babies will devour all of mankind. Like throw in a line so it makes sense. Because otherwise, it's just a spider. And if it's just a spider that these people think is a god, but it's not a god, then it should be doing normal spider things, like you keep saying. Why isn't it killing you now? Why is it like playing with you? Why is it trying to trick you here? Why doesn't it just do this?
Or
right?
be more like a spider in that each time it kills, it shouldn't need food for a long time. But
I thought that was
definitely
gonna be the
aggressively
angle,
attacking you when it's going when like she touches its eggs. Like she's never
squeezing them. She's fondling those eggs. Yeah.
Jules.
They're all squishy.
They're squishy.
Yeah, and like it laid two. And I was like, is that a mistake?
The dollhouse.
Yeah.
I think the last shot is in the dollhouse, right, where they show the eggs hatching. Or
No,
they just show spiders everywhere.
The last shot is a bumper after the credits.
Yeah.
Where it's inside the chest.
That's the big thing, by the way, is like they hatched. Oh no, we're doomed. I'm like, we're not doomed because they're just big spiders.
If you did get a lot, if a clutch of spiders, which looked like there was at least 15 or something,
800 spiders
that do seem to produce without mating, that would cause quite a problem.
Sure.
Because it would probably breed uncontrolled in the country for a while to a point where it'd be like, this is difficult to fight.
I feel like with the venomous angle and the unprecedentedness that like you'd like militarize, try to take care of it or something like that.
I'm sure, but I think it would be a while before you would like I think it could spread enough before you even notice what it was. Because with something that big, you'd keep thinking snake or something.
It wouldn't be nothing, but it would definitely be like it'd be on the news. We'd be like, that doesn't make sense. Those aren't real, and then we'd see the real ones.
Yes,
the whole thing.
I was very glad that the body didn't like turn to nothing, proving it was magic at the end.
Yeah.
So they actually do have a large, like, look at that fucking thing. This is what?
That's the final nail in the coffin of like, I guess it's just a spider, but then we have a whole movie that doesn't make sense if it's just a spider. Imagine, if you will, whenever it's molting, it's changing size a lot. So when
that's what should have happened.
So when it
anyway,
when it kills the cat, it's like a challenge to kill the cat, and we have a whole thing. And then it gets bigger, and it kills something else or does something else, and then it gets bigger, right? And then you don't even see it for like a little while, and then you see that like big fake one, and you're like, oh no, how big is it now? And then it's in its like biggest form, right? And you build up to it here, right?
While I do agree that would be a better movie, I still would have gone in the quantity over quality thing, and I think there just should have been a couple. There should have been like the first egg sack you saw it lay, and then like not seen that again until the last like 20 minutes, and then there should have been like 10, like some like this big, and then like of course the one that's giant, and then you could still end with that bumper of them in the chest coming out. But I think that even would have been better if you would opened it and all of a sudden one jumped on his face like the size of like a baseball mitt or something. It seems like they're too small to even be babies.
We could do like a time skip then, where they could like get used to the old man, his like health could get worse, there could be a whole back and forth. You could film like a few interactions with weird Denise Crosby who thinks she's on to her or something like that. This whole movie takes place in like 3 days. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And the spider's like outside the whole time, like waiting, like, is it time for the third act yet? Should I come in the house?
Destroyed the crops and stole a child from the village's chief.
It's really weird. Whereas you could have had a whole thing of like, our cat's gone missing, and then like, oh, this happens. Oh, something weird happened over here. Some like animals at this farm had a thing. Like, what? That doesn't make it. And have a whole fucking, you could do like the whole thing. Take all that magic stuff.
Okay,
I don't know, I'm sorry.
Let's just take it easy.
I think the backstory is definitely that they caught it in between molting, and that's how it got in there, because it kind of looks like it comes out of a husk while it's in that egg anyway.
Ooh,
at least that's how I took it.
Maybe.
And it's the only way it makes sense, and they don't explain it at all, and I'm here to fill in backstory on a movie that didn't care. There's a shot where the little girl goes into the attic for the first time, and she like tears apart some webs, which already should have got her killed. To find a doll in that like bassinet, I think that should have been like the mummified cat. I think that would have been a better shot.
I think that's what they...
That's a subvert your expectation things, but in a worse way. Like, I think that could have been a good jump scare moment. Or it's the doll, and then when she turns with the doll happy, the fucking cat's hanging on the wall or something. I was just going to say, I thought, that was like, it's just the doll. Okay, good, because that would have been, and then we have a thing like there where now something traumatizing happens for this little girl or whatever like that. The kid, when she cries out and there's a spider in my room, and it is the other, like an actual spider, that was a large-ass spider. Yeah. I wonder if the PETA people were like, was that a fake spider? You killed a fake spider?
I think it was CG, and they were like, bigger. We need to see this thing. It's got to play on screen.
It shouldn't just be that he collects old shit.
Well, there was some weird revenge tale.
I could bring my wife back with this or something.
Who's that?
That's my wife, Maggie.
I stole this from those people that killed whoever, and it's this whole thing. But like,
maybe go into detail on how his wife died at all, or something, or make me care at all.
Enough.
Like done enough. Like imagine if he like worships the spider god, but it's really just a big spider from some weird place. Right, and he thinks like it grants wishes and I need to do this, and he's like, and then he wants to sacrifice the kid to the spider, and there's a whole angle there.
Really, anything would have been better than nothing.
You give us this.
This movie is a lot of nothing.
In 20 minutes, we can write you like 4 scripts or like treatments, just be like, this is so easy. And I feel like they somehow dodged like all of them to deliver this movie.
At the current moment, this was like I would rate it as a chore movie where you're like, ugh.
Yeah, I paused it halfway through. I fell asleep like briefly. I don't think you noticed. It was a whole thing where I was like, and then I'm like, okay, I don't think I missed that much or something like that. It's when he's explaining to the kid, when he's like, okay, I gotta pull all these pieces together. Like something happens and then it like cuts to like the kid being like, here's this thing, and he goes, you know what? Let's tell you a story. And I'm like, oh.
You know what a legend is?
Yeah? It's a story?
Well, stories you tell in a bar. A legend has a spiritual quality to it. It's ingrained in a culture, being passed down from generation to generation.
Ultimately, nothing in the first 40 minutes even matter, really.
No.
Like, you don't need to know where he... Because it would only matter if it actually ended up being a magical spider. It'd be like, wait, how did they get a magical spider in this? When it's just a spider, it could be anything. That could be just a genetic anomaly that happened to be in the wild that came to this house. And it would change nothing.
Right.
The fact that they're there because she lost her job, really, doesn't matter that much either. Like, she's a drug addict, but it doesn't actually matter.
If it was supposed to parallel with other stuff and be a thing, then yes. But no, it's like on her third day there, she's already stealing his pills and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's
pills that I think say on them like use as needed, unlimited refills or something, and I'm like, what?
Something. That was a whole, because like that scene felt like they'd already developed a thing and he was like whatever with her, right? It felt so, it didn't feel like what it was supposed to be doing or whatever, or being or whatever.
It's such a forced moment where it's like, well, oh, let me just tidy up your bathroom. Oh, no, you can go home. No, I gotta do it. She goes in for 1 second, takes the pills, comes out, and happens to drop the pills?
Yeah.
Little girl here.
I just need to organize your bathroom.
No, leave that for the morning.
I'll be out of your way in just a minute. Looks like you're all set for the morning.
What is that?
I was bringing these in for you.
I haven't taken those in a month.
What, are you out of your mind?
Like,
how'd that happen?
I haven't taken those in months. It isn't what it looks like. And then like, these are for pain. Your pain or mine?
Your pain or mine?
What's that supposed to mean?
Like he's saying it like he's the grandpa now. Yeah. Like they've developed this like thing.
And she immediately mouths off at him. Like, I'm like, well, you're fired now because you're stealing, you're mouthing off. I'm like, and you live there. He's your income and your house. Yes. And you've got nothing else.
But she makes pancakes
I can see everything you own.
That's right, your favorite.
I know. That's what's so weird. Where it almost could have got played off as, you murdered him, didn't you?
I thought it was going there too.
And they didn't do that.
I thought this whole movie was going to be the spider framing her for murder.
You love the idea of animals framing people for murder.
I think it's the greatest thing ever. Yeah. And then, so that's when I was like, oh, now I get it. The snake's framing him for murder. Because, the animal is not literally trying to frame them for murder. Yes. But for the sake of the narrative, we have to believe that that's what they want. Because, again, the animal can't make these decisions like, oh, they're alone. She's not coming back from work for 4 more hours. Now's my time to strike. But in movies, they always do that. So I always like this fun...
Were we taking it to believe that it ate his eyes, or it like sucked him dry so his eyes were sunken in?
They just drew black on his face.
What I would perceive anything that guy would do to anything. Like, what is he even killing things for, honestly? Because he doesn't seem to be...
the spider?
We don't see him actually eating things. I think it's a she. Things.
I think it's...
Well, obviously, it laid eggs.
I think it's an independent queen. She. No, I don't know why the spider's killing people. Does it need food? I guess it needs blood. Is it a blood-eating spider?
And sucks blood.
Is that a thing?
This movie would have been so much better, in my opinion, if it just followed a page from the playbook of arachnophobia, and this thing was out in the barn breeding.
Yep.
Just like, picture like a bunch of like hand-sized spiders doing shit, like, and it wouldn't be like arachnophobia where they're coming in through little holes because they're too big. They're like
and they wouldn't sneak up on you because you can hear them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been good.
No, I'm glad that you brought up arachnophobia, because that was the last thing I wanted to do, is bring up arachnophobia.
Sure.
I haven't seen it in a while. I'm pretty sure it still holds up.
Oh, it does.
And the spiders were just spiders, but it was a good movie.
Yeah, they were spiders that like you couldn't do that movie now because like they were like blowing steam or smoke at spiders to herd them in directions they wanted. Like
there was like a dude with a hairdryer smoking a cigarette, being like, "Go, fucking scare them."
Kinda.
Yeah, and it was the whole thing.
But that's a great movie.
That's a great
movie.
Much
better actors, much better, had an actual script. So like you really can't compare them at all.
No, and I don't want to be like, it should have been like arachnophobia. Like, I'm fine with like just one spider. I think we can do a movie.
If it was done better, yeah.
Yeah, like it's fine.
overall, a thumbs down from both of us,
This is a thumbs down movie. If you've made it this far, you don't need to watch this movie.
What makes you say that?
It's such a forgettable movie, honestly. And
Yeah,
like,
I'm trying to
just
think.
watched it.
Yeah.
Like almost nothing really clicks. Just I liked the ending. I liked her bashing this spider apart.
You liked that?
I liked it because
I didn't even like
that. The end of the movie actually had things happen. And it might not be exactly 15 minutes, but it's like all the action in this film is in that last bit where like you have like she's incapacitated, the little boy's doing shit.
She tears its like two of its limbs out. And I'm like, that wouldn't save you, and then she proceeds to just wail on it.
Well, that was my thought too. So as you're watching, so from the jump, I guess it would start really where the little boy like bashed the spider off of his sister. And it like flips over, and it's like,
and it does a very accurate.
Yes. So like that happens. I don't think it can happen unless they die. So like that action is, and I might have the wording wrong, but like they're run like pneumatically almost.
Yes.
And it is the full blood flow through all this the limbs that enables them to move. And the moment something happens that interrupts that, like they lose their blood or whatever, they naturally shrinkle up because that's what's keeping them taut.
And in the event of death, their hydraulic system shuts down, and their flexor muscles go into rigor mortis, hence the curled legs.
Yeah.
So once it gets crumpled up, I think it's dead. I don't think it can recover from that, because I don't think it can actually do this on its own.
Obviously, this was them sending us the message that it's dead so they could fake us out.
I thought you were going to say, obviously, sending us a message, it's a magic spider.
Obviously, the magic spider was trying to frame this person for tax evasion. Yeah.
So, like, from that point on, and that's where it gets a little interesting, you have she goes out, she opens her eyes, and it's gone. And now the fight ensues. So yes, when she does get to the part where it's actually like it's attacking her son, she goes to save it. Even though like the part where she's saving him from, he's using a fire poker to like stop it. And I'm like, it is a spider. Like you can't do this. It would go like. It gets you, like, regardless. Like,
so, like, imagine if, like, I'm fighting and I have a thing like this, and then you put a poker there and it, like, stops it from happening.
Yeah.
He's, like, doing that with its, like, fangdibles or whatever, and you're like, no, right? It's a
I think he's actually at the, what do they have, a 2-segment body? I think he's kind of, like, at, like, the top of the middle segment, so he's blocking, like 2 arms and mandibles.
Yeah, like, cinematically, though, that's the language. It's this is Kirk and Spock fighting, and he's like, and he's like, got him on the thing. Yeah, exactly.
And this is a giant spider, which I have to imagine would be very strong.
That is so crazy. Look how much weight it's carrying. So this is 5 times its own body weight.
Like,
sure.
Just because it's fucking huge. She like clubs it off and then starts like, just like, and I'm in my head, I'm like, okay, she's about to rip out 1 or like, you know, by stroke of magic 2 at the same time, because that's like very difficult because you have to be exactly precise, and that does happen, which is a bullshit. And the moment she would do that, it is now still alive, and it would just be like, because both your hands would be over here, and it would be over here.
It is alive, it is upset, and it is like right there.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a bad
but
time.
it all works out perfect, and it looks like even she uses its own legs to stab it to death.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that going on.
Okay.
And she smashes it a lot. I, like you, was afraid. Is she going to keep smashing it to the point where it's unrecognizable, and then Denise Crosby's going to come in, and you're going to be seeing her putting the handcuffs on and all that stuff? Yeah.
But it is still obviously a squished spider. I was like, okay, she's not going to go to jail for like the murder of that old man now.
Even though they didn't think she killed him. That's the whole thing.
They should have played something up there.
Yeah, that's the whole angle.
Like the son
there.
should have let something slip. Like I heard you fucking something or other, this and that. Oh, I noticed you smashed this like the walkie-talkie thing, so you couldn't hear him during his moments of whatever. Oh, I don't know how that broke. Oh, this and that.
You smashed the walkie-talkie.
Baby monitors are what I was trying to think of.
The same communication, intercom, right? Like one of the kids says something like they were fighting or something like that or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, bad mom, idiot.
The daughter says, no,
I didn't even want to raise kids or whatever the fuck he says.
You can't judge me. Do you know what it's like being stuck with 2 kids?
Oh, do you know what it's like to be stuck with 2 kids? Oh my God, my young heart. Oh my God. Amazing. Yeah, like the daughter could have said, that wasn't mommy, that was what's his name. He was angry because they were fighting on the thing, so he smashed it. And then Denise Crosby's like, fighting about what, miss? And it's this whole thing. She's like, just listen, it's fine. Your pupils are kind of dilated.
Your eyes are dilated and your hands are shaking.
It's this whole thing, goes in this whole thing, right? Yeah.
That way that they don't explain to the daughter that her brother is dead.
Yeah.
Like, oh, how does Stevie know where we are? Oh, even at the very end, oh, he knows, because family's always fucking something.
He'll know. Because no matter what happens, no matter where we live, we'll always be a family.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah, like this totally unearned, weird, happy ending.
Yeah.
Where no one has like changed.
It kind of would have been better if they were in foster care and she was dead.
Just for the no, because she
or the sheriff took him in or something.
She's magically good now, so it's fine, I guess.
Well, because even if the sheriff does go like, and bring the ambulance.
Get all available units out to the Gillette place. Send an ambulance out that way.
Like, because I'm assuming we're gonna need that. Even if an ambulance showed up, if you're anywhere and you're bit by a snake, if they don't know what snake bit you, you can die. If a foreign country, magical, never seen before spider that has enough venom that I'm sure you would just start to rot because it's so big.
Listen, there's a puddle of spider right there. They can scoop that up with a cold shovel.
This is a movie.
What, I think this is a movie? No, I don't know how they saved her. Like, she did the EpiPen and some other stuff like that.
Okay, you got adrenaline that would make your heart beat faster, pumping more poison, I think, around your body.
It apparently helped her. I don't know. I don't know if it was literally an EpiPen or like what it was.
I think it was an EpiPen.
But she had something to stop the like allergic reaction or whatever.
I took it as it was the adrenaline
that like
to make her not be passed out.
Overpowered the venom or whatever.
No, I didn't take it anything like
because she fights off the thing and stuff.
But my thought was she's gonna pass out and she's gonna die because. Not necessarily the venom, which, yes, would kill her eventually. The giant spider is going to get her while she's passed out. So she took the adrenaline so she could be awake to, have a fighting chance, get her kids out. And then does have the kids leave. Which I'm like, oh, that was weird. Sending the boy off alone in Spider World where you know things are happening.
Jesse, downstairs. Phone.
I'll be right back.
It makes sense if the narrative is about her being overprotective after losing one of her kids and then not wanting her kids to ever go do anything on their own or be in danger, and then she's incapacitated and the kids have to do something, and at the end we're all happy because it's like, oh, she's now realized that they can be independent and they've proven themselves to be whatever.
But
it
wasn't
she's changed her outlook on life. I know, and that's
it. Also would have worked your way if she died, because then it proves that they can do everything on their own and they don't need her to baby them because she's dead. But she lived. This movie's bad. 2 thumbs down.
Agree.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to cannibalvideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
Are you afraid of a few little spiders?
Cannibal Video has everything you need. And DVDs. We ate the competition, now it's only us. Our expert staff opinions.